It's funny to see how as the years went by and we live in the dystopic cyber future of the digital age, the one thing that became more popular than ever was being very angry and very cynical. We were told constantly by commenters, YouTubers, and many others on social media that something is seriously wrong in entertainment, or in this case in particular gaming, and that we should be demanding better. Which is honestly not a bad thing to do, not on paper at least. But what I started to notice is, for the most part, this age of being more critical of media came with the caveat of people telling us to get mad at products that don't live up to their expectations, over-exaggerating their critiques, overblowing and over-exaggerating their gripes with the lower points of the game for the sake of entertainment. And with those overly negative attitudes spreading like a virus to the collective user base of the internet, something snaps. A culture where anything less than a 9 out of 10 is lambasted as something you shouldn't play, otherwise you are part of the problem, quote unquote. I say this because during the decade of the 2010s, most of the content I consumed for entertainment, and also to distract my depression-ridden heart, was mostly people on YouTube being angry about bad media, or in some cases, bad games. For the most part, I used to think those people were bringing up some really good points and maybe something really needed to change. Then sometime in that period, I went around playing video games that people on the internet insisted were the worst of the worst. Or in some cases, they were not up to par, either because of a problem or a similarity in design, regardless of genre. Playing and enjoying video games like Black Ops 2 or The Evil Within or any Ubisoft game of my choice and thinking, wow, I had a lot of fun with these games. Then coming onto the internet and finding out the people working on the YouTubes hate them for one reason or another was a level of whiplash that, looking back on it, was almost hilarious. At that point I had to start asking myself, at which point are all these people being sincere in their critiques of these games, and at what other point do I stop taking them seriously because they're just overblowing things? One of the most infamous examples of this was back when Hellblade first came out. It got really good reviews and it was hailed as a revelation that maybe you don't have to overblow your budget in order to create a great game. Then I take a look at the internet. Those who didn't like it cited mostly the linearity of the game and how most of it is just walking sections. But the one that got me to raise an eyebrow was James Stephanie Sterling. They somehow managed to break the game, got softlocked so hard that instead of resetting the game, decided to give up and give it a 1 out of 10. The backlash of that review was so swift that it caused James Sterling to quit reviewing games altogether for a few years, only to come back and start lambasting games again, citing not having fun because of the game mechanics, something breaking, or the company itself being so horrible that just trying to enjoy the game at all is impossible. Not that they're not bringing up valid criticisms. A lot of these games have been launched with really bad technical issues for supposed full-price AAA games. It's just the ABGN-esque rage at them has seriously started to rub me the wrong way. And that's just an example of this. I used to religiously watch top 10 worst lists from YouTubers like that, but this year, the more I look at negative reviews, the more I realize I've been over my edgy, cynical phase for years now. Only now I finally have the words to express it. I think one of the biggest influences I had was when I was talking with a good friend of mine about how cynical or overly angry attitudes in the internet make it rather hard to discuss or enjoy anything in good faith. We came to a very important conclusion. This isn't about being toxic positive or to start overcompensating the flaws of not so great products, but rather accepting that while it is respectable for anyone to put themselves out there and work hard to get a project out into the public, it can still fail on either the technical level or to resonate with people. But I don't think that is any true justification to be a prick towards those in general. I can acknowledge and accept some products are not good. I enjoyed Cyberpunk 2077, but I can accept the launch was a disaster and CDPR leads deserve to be sued and shamed for overmarketing a game that clearly wasn't fit for the 8th generation consoles, and needed at least another year in the oven. But the game right now for the most part is fixed. There's DLC coming and I am waiting for it to come out so I can play it again with the revamped gameplay systems and to also enjoy that expansion. I am not interested in holding a petty grudge. I understand and respect people having gripes about video games having design trends that can make them look samey, or having problems with side content feeling like a list of chores rather than a fun time. But I am not interested, nor do I care about those design choices, because I am more interested about the value of the game as a whole, because that is what you are playing really, the entire sum of its parts, not just that one mechanic you didn't really like. I know it sucks that some remakes are not being 100% faithful to the source material, or they are launched with comparatively less content than the original release or the re-release. But I am more interested to see how the new approach makes these games more cohesive rather than staying caught up to all the things these games are not. The main point I am making is I'm a 33-year-old man. I will be turning 34 soon in March, and my tolerance for these gripes and issues with shortcomings being overblown into a big deal is starting to wear thin for me. I only gave you a few examples because if I listed every gripe I personally have with the cynical side of the internet, this video could go on for hours. What I want right now as I approach my mid-30s and I refuse to grow out of video games and anime is nuance. This is gonna be a hot take from me, but I find the angry YouTuber shtick to be played out. Much like what happens in professional wrestling, anyone can grab a microphone, get into the editing software, and go quote-unquote game bad. Petty overblown anger on the internet has become cheap. Anyone can do it now. It is not special anymore. Back to my original example. James Sterling has been making these videos criticizing the industry for over a decade now. Despite the sitting rage of each video, I take a look at the industry and sadly not much has changed. Or rather, nothing is going to change by simply complaining about it online all the time. All it offers is a cheap placebo to make you feel good because your biases got confirmed and the bad company got called out. The industry is actually taking steps to improve for the better, but it has to come from all sides. People will buy what is more fun for them. That is something no amount of complaining on the internet is going to change. The major changes, however, are truly going to come from within. Bad management will have to go sooner rather than later, and developers are taking steps to unionize or even minimize crunch and improving how employees get treated. Which is a long way from watching a 10 to 30 minute video with heavy emotional tones that can be summed up as gaming company bad and you are bad for consuming from them. You can only push people's emotions for so long before they stop caring and apathy sets in. You can persuade people, but a better approach is needed. Plus, if a game really is turning out to not be very satisfying or is downright disappointing, just play something else. Regardless if you wasted a full price or not, it's not like there is a shortage of great games or similar genres. Anyone who insists the gaming industry is in bad shape or an industry crash is coming is very likely only playing a handful of AAA games and is convinced that's all there is to the industry. The good thing about this change in outlook for me is that as horrible as the algorithmic systems of social media and YouTube are right now, finding the kind of nuanced content I want to enjoy has not been hard to find. YouTube essays, reviews, critiques that are more than interested in critiquing both the good and the bad aspects of video games exist in abundance, and right now I am more than happy to have found them. I want my own channel to contribute to this as well. Sure, I am a small fish, but I want anyone who stumbles upon my videos to find that more nuanced takes on games. I want to look at both the good things and the bad things in the industry, and even if some of them do not do the job for me, I want to at least leave the possibility open that they may work for anyone watching them. It's a big part of why I haven't given up on making YouTube videos. I want to keep expressing myself, and I want to think my content will help foster a better community. Because in the end, isn't that why we play video games to begin with? Yeah, some bad things are still happening, and I am all for keeping those companies accountable. Even I am willing to be critical and call it out as I see it. But I'd rather do it smart than trying too hard.